Alright class, here's round 3 for factoring. 4x squared minus 36 over x squared plus 10x plus 21. You would first take a factor the top, then factor the bottom. We'd look to see what are the restrictions, and then we'll cancel out what's like and simplify. So you would first, on the top factoring, we would take out a 4. That's in common. It would leave me with an x squared minus 9 over, and then on the bottom, my eyeglasses would be x, and then factors of 21, sum of 10 would be plus 7 minus 3, or plus 3, excuse me, plus 7 plus 3. The x squared minus 9 on the top can still be factored down. That would take us down to 4 times x plus 3, x minus 3, over x plus 7, x plus 3. And then we would look at what could be the restrictions. And the restrictions would be shown in this one. I cannot have a negative 7, so x cannot equal, ooh, that doesn't look good. Let's try that again. X cannot equal negative 7. And in this one, x cannot equal negative 3. So there would be my restrictions. Alright, I see I've got an x plus 3 on the top and an x plus 3 in the bottom, leaving me with a 4, an x minus 3, and an x plus 7 in the bottom. So that would leave us with 4 times x minus 3 try that again, x minus 3 over x plus 7. That would be my simplified form, and this would be my restrictions. So we would use both of those parts. For the second one, we've got 4x squared minus 1 over 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 times x squared minus 6x plus 9 over 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. You can tell my daughter did the handwriting on this because it's much neater than I can write. Thank you, Jen. So on this one, I'm going to factor the top one. If I put this in, let's just leave it in red. This would be 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1, because it's the difference of two perfect squares. And that will take care of this one. And down below, we're going to get 2x and x, and factors of negative 3 would be negative 3 plus 1. And we double check that by multiplying the 2x and the negative 3, that's negative 6x, and the 1 and the x, and that's 1x. Negative 6x and 1x is negative 5x. So that takes care of this one. Alright, on the top, we'll go back to x minus 3, x minus 3. That takes care of that one. And on the bottom, again, it's 2x and x, just like the other one. But this time, it's going to be plus 3 minus 1. So that would give me then on the outsides 6x, and on the insides negative 1x, which gives me a plus 5x, and that takes care of this one. Now, we would look at the restrictions first. That's this part, okay? And note, let's go with purple. Note that x cannot equal, for this one, if I subtract 1 divided by 2, it cannot equal negative 1/2. Where'd you get that? If you took your 2x, let's make it smaller here, 2x plus 1 and set it equal to 0. And then you subtracted the 1 and divided by 2. That's where you get the negative 1/2. If you take your x minus 1 and set it equal to 0, add 1 and you'll get 1. Okay? If you take your 2x minus 1 and set that one equal to 0, now you get a positive 1/2. You have plus 1 and then divide by 2, it'd be 1/2. And if you take your x plus 3 and set that equal to 0, you'll get x is negative 3. Those are the four numbers that it cannot be. So x cannot equal negative 1/2, 1, positive 1/2, or negative 3. All right? So those are our restrictions. Now we're going to start canceling out. So I erased my bottom line there, which took out, or which was considering the denominators. And we'll look at just the red lines, these guys and these guys. That's above and below. And we're going to kind of draw a bold highlighted line in here so that this will be the numerator in the red on top, and then this would be the numerator or the denominator in the bottom. And we'll take out a 2x plus 1 and a 2x plus 1, a 2x minus 1 and a 2x minus 1, an x, let's see, yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so that's going to leave us with an x minus 1, x minus 3, x minus 3 on the top, an x minus 1, and an x plus 3 on the bottom. And we'll take that down and write x minus 3 squared for the numerator, and on the denominator, x minus 1, x plus 3. And there is my simplified form. With my restriction, x cannot equal negative 1/2, 1, 1/2, or 3. Let's go to this next one, divided. Remember that in dividing, we want to write, I don't want to write yellow, that's going to be awkward. Well, we want to change this to multiplication and then flip it. So we will put 3x minus 12 on the top and x plus 1 on the bottom. That should be a squared. Sorry, my handwriting was so bad she couldn't read it. So that was x squared plus 2x minus 15 over x squared minus 16. Well, when you factor that, that's going to give me, split the x's. In the minus 15, factors of negative 15, we're going to have a plus 5 and a minus 3. And those do give me a sum of 2. In the bottom, we will end up with x plus 4, x minus 4. On the top, we'll take out a greatest common factor of 3 and have x minus 4. And then we got x plus 1 on the denominator. Okay, if I use my bold line and make one division bar and just cancel out above and below, oh, you know what? Forgot to do my restrictions. I can't have a 4 in this one. I can't have a negative 4 in this one, and I can't have a negative 1. So x cannot equal plus or minus 4 or negative 1. There's your restrictions. Now we'll do our cancellations. Okay, cancellations. And I've got a x minus 4 and an x minus 4. X plus 5, x minus 3, and 3 stays on top. x plus 4, and x plus 1 stays on the bottom. So we'll put the 3 out front, and then x minus 3, and x plus 5. My numerator, and my denominator, x plus 4, and x plus 1. There's my simplified form. There's my restrictions. And we're on to the next problem. Okay, on this one, we're multiplying 4x squared plus 7y. So we're going to take the like terms and multiply them together. We'll multiply the 4 and the 7. I think I'm just a little too wide here. Let's drop it down to there. We'll multiply those together. What is 7 times 4? Okay, that'd be 28. Okay, and then I would have x squared y over, multiply your 5 and your 12, give me a 60. We'll put the x to the 4th and y, and that'll give us our simplified form. At this point, my restrictions, x can't equal 0, y can't equal 0. When those are 0, we're in trouble in the denominator. Our denominator goes to 0. So we'll split these guys up. Let's highlight the numbers, the x's, and the y's. And the 28 over 60, those are both even numbers. We could get 14 over 30. X squared over x to the 4th. Cancel out an x squared on both of them, and you would have a 1 over x squared. And the y's are just going to cancel. 14 over 30 can also reduce, would give us a 7/15 times 1 over x squared, or 7 over 15x squared. And there would be my reduced form. Again, my restrictions are up here. And my last slide. It's a division problem. So sure enough, we're going to take this part, change it to multiplication, flip our terms, so 9y squared goes on the top, 8x cubed goes on the bottom, 16x to the 5th over 3y cubed, and those didn't change. We'll draw a bar through and combine our like terms, so multiply the numbers. Okay, actually, we could do this and make our numbers smaller. Why don't we take our numbers and factor out? We can take out an 8 and an 8 here. That would leave us with a 2 and a 1. And we could take out a 3 and a 3, and it will leave us with a 3 and a 1, and that made it all of a sudden a lot easier. Now when you multiply your 2 and your 3, you get 6 on the top, and then x to the 5th, y to the 2nd, and on the bottom we just got 1, and then x cubed, y to the 3rd, y cubed. When I'm looking at these pieces, the numbers, okay, again, x cannot equal 0, y cannot equal 0, and then we can start simplifying. That'll give me 6. 5x's and 3x's would give me x squared on the top, and y to the 2nd over y to the 3rd. Cancel out 2 of the y's, you'd have 1 over y, which gives me a final, let's go this way, of 6x squared over y. And there would be my simplified form and my restrictions. That's it for today. Give you another set to work on, just to kind of run over that, and then we'll go on to a new section next week. Hope you're hanging in there. I know this is 2 weeks now. Probably stir crazy. It's sheltering in, sheltering alone or sheltering at home, and it is a good idea to just stay isolated. Hang in there. This thing will pass and we'll make it. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.